Hey, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for checking out this video. I hope you're having a fantastic day. Wow, uh, I just did a video not that long ago on the commissioner of the WNBA. If you haven't checked that out, please do. And how just delusional and incompetent she has been with regard to Caitlin Clark joining the WNBA and the new fans. So, just got this. Curious what her leadership skills are going to do about this. And this reminded me of something else as well. So let's dig into this a little bit. I don't know a lot about this. This is new. Okay, so I found what I can find, and we're going to go from there. But I wanted to bring it to your attention because it plays into other things. We talk about the WNBA and everything that we've seen since Caitlin Clark came into the league. And we've talked about the way a lot of the media has treated Caitlin Clark. We talked about how a lot of the players have treated her, not just in things that have been said, but in how they've acted on the court with the physicality. And I'm not just talking about fouls, but we've seen them. I've shown them in other videos with the way that they've, I don't want to say abused, but it wasn't just typical basketball play, right? We've seen follow throughs on blocks. She's gotten hit in the head multiple times. We saw the Angel Reese thing, tried to take her head off. We saw the Kennedy Carter thing with that, the assault from behind and what she called her before she even did it. So here we have Hamby, who, by the way, they've only announced one, but Unrivaled announced earlier today that she's going to be in the 3v3 league. So this is also interesting. She has officially filed a federal lawsuit against the Las Vegas Aces and the WNBA, detailing the repeated acts of intimidation, discrimination, and retaliation that culminated in January 2023 with the Aces trading Hamby because the star forward was pregnant. Now, we've got this bit from the lawyer. We're going to read this. The WNBA is, at its core, a workplace, and federal laws have long shielded pregnant women from discrimination on the job. The world champion Aces exiled Dearica Hamby for becoming pregnant, and the WNBA responded with a light tap on the wrist, Hamby's attorney said. Every potential mother in the league is now on notice that childbirth could change their career prospects overnight. That can't be right in one of the most prosperous and dynamic women's professional sports league in America. Now, one thing I will take issue with is calling it one of the most prosperous women's professional sports leagues in America. I understand as Hamby's lawyer doing that, but I don't know if you can call a league that's been around 28 years and lost millions every single year prosperous. But the NBA is a investor in the WNBA, and that may also play into this as well, because thanks to the connection with the WNBA, with the NBA, the WNBA has deep, deep pockets. So this is going to be really, really interesting. As someone mentioned, if I show it down here, good on her. I live in Vegas. We all love the Aces, but there's something very heavy-handed about that organization. My take is this is why the Aces are underperforming. Psychologically, the players just don't like the low-level vilification. Now, I don't know. I don't know how much just came from the organization in terms of management, or if there was anything from the players. Because what we have seen and why this is so interesting, and I'm going to bring up another great example, is look at everything we've seen with Caitlin Clark. Now, the issue is different. That was a player getting pregnant. This is a player being insanely popular and completely upending the league with millions and millions of new fans. And that brought out a lot of petty jealousy from those in the league, involved with the league from top to bottom. But the response is the same. The response is the same. It has been intimidation, discrimination, retaliation. That is all going on with Caitlin Clark. And, someone brings up here, the Aces always have been caught up in something questionable, it seems. Don't forget their $100,000 salary cap skirting plan. Good point. Told you all about this IS league. Y'all thought we were hating just because we Caitlin Clark fans. Look what we have here. Now, to that point, I don't know, filing a lawsuit for getting traded like any other player would is crazy. Yeah, that's not what the lawsuit is about. Now, again, I don't know the validity. I read the lawyer's statement. They must feel they have something if they're filing that lawsuit. Discovery should be a very interesting process because they're not talking about, oh, she got pregnant and got traded and we don't like that. It was apparently other factors involved. So about this activist league, I'm hoping to see some public support for Hamby by other players, especially teammates. That will be interesting. Were teammates involved? That's another thing. We don't know that whether or not teammates were involved in this. Yeah, here's this person didn't like it. Now, I don't know. See, this is where it gets tricky, and that's why I like this comment, because I wanted to focus on the aspect of the discrimination, the intimidation, the retaliation, if that's part of it. Because to this person's point, do they say here, let me read this. Legally, do they have a leg to stand on? The W isn't a regular job. Players have to stay fit and available. Having a kid makes her unfit. Unless her contract says she can't get cut, I don't understand the basis. And that's why I say what's interesting and why more will have to come out is I agree with that to a point. We may not like it, but the reality of it is different if a professional athlete gets pregnant versus if an manager or executive or just normal office worker who sits at a desk all day gets pregnant, right? Very, very, they are in reality very different situations. And we can talk about what should be done and what should be in place and all that, but they are different situations. That person who is pregnant and working in an office may very well still do their job, right up till pregnancy, and they may take their leave and the office can cover it and maybe they still do some work from home or whatever. But that's very, very different than a professional athlete who's going to have to stop playing long before and be out after as well. And there are athletes who've done it. Obviously, Katie Lou Samuelson for the Fever. I mentioned her because everyone knows her because everyone knows Caitlin Clark. But that's the thing is what's going to be interesting if I go back to this is the intimidation, discrimination, and retaliation. And that's why I emphasize we've seen what's going on with Caitlin Clark. So there's clearly a serious issue with the mentality of the league from management to players because we also then have this, Candice Wiggins. Now you can see she says she was a completely different issue, right? But that's what I'm getting to is the reaction to things they don't like, right? And it's an if with Hamby, right? This is a lawsuit. I'm not saying that she is right, but you saw the words used that based on what she's saying, that the Las Vegas Aces did not like that. And their response was intimidation and retaliation and all that. Candice Wiggins saying she was also getting bullied, right? Which is going to be intimidation and retaliation and all that stuff. And we've seen a lot of that with Caitlin Clark. So the issues themselves may be different: pregnancy, sexuality, popularity, but the way the league has handled them is the same. So I don't really want to go into a deep dive too much in this, but like Wiggins said here, I wanted to play 2 more seasons of WNBA, but the experience didn't lend itself to my mental state. It was a depressing state in the WNBA. It's not watched. Our value is diminished. It can be quite hard. I didn't like the culture inside the WNBA. And without revealing too much, it was toxic for me. My spirit was being broken. She asserts she was targeted for harassment from the time she was drafted by Minnesota. That I find interesting. Minnesota, coached by Cheryl Reeve, and we all know what kind of toxic human being she is, both not just how she handled Caitlin Clark and all of her jealousy when Caitlin Clark was right. I mean, it goes all the way back to preseason and her nonsense with her tweets, and then she took her account private. Don't forget the video I shared with you of Ariel Powers, who Cheryl Reeve did not like, who Cheryl Reeve coached, who was traded and going to the All-Star game. They actually ended up seated next to each other. And as soon as Ariel, who, by the way, if you go check out her YouTube or Twitter, she is hilarious. I keep saying she should be the face of the WNBA just for her personality. As soon as she sat down on that plane, Cheryl Reeve got up and switched seats because she couldn't bear to sit next to an ex-player that she mistreated. So anyway, it's just interesting that that's Minnesota. It's just she was because she was hetero and a nationally popular figure of whom many other players were jealous. Keep that in mind there as well. A hetero and a nationally popular figure of whom many other players were jealous. It was a conformist type of place. There was a whole different set of rules they could apply. People were deliberately trying to hurt me all the time. Go back to early in the season with Caitlin Clark, and we can talk about some of the hits she took and the Kennedy Carter thing and Angel Reese trying to take off her head. I had never been called the B word so many times in my life than I was in my rookie season. Again, B word, Kennedy Carter, Caitlin Clark. I've never been thrown to the ground so much. The message was, we want you to know we don't like you. Wow. Tell me that did not sound exactly like what's going on right now with Caitlin Clark. The WNBA, and again, I will say this again, I will keep saying this, nothing is going to change until the NBA yanks all of its money and says, you must turn a profit or you will fold. That is what needs to to happen, because otherwise the WNBA continues to be what it has been for almost three decades, a toxic, awful place with entitled, narcissistic, hateful brats who think they deserve things that they did not earn. It is disgusting. The commissioner, Kathy Engelbert, has to come out with a statement and fix this now. In fact, she needs to resign is what she needs to do. We need to get someone in place who is ready to clean house from top to bottom. The entire WNBA management structure must change. If you want this league to be successful going forward, if you want to grow this league, if you want to have fans, everything about the culture of this league must change. I'm going to leave it there because otherwise I'll go on a serious tirade that'll probably get me booted. But let me know your thoughts on this nonsense below. Look, again, I don't know that Hamby has anything in this lawsuit. I'm not saying that. I am saying it is interesting when you look at it with Hamby and Wiggins and Clark. There are a lot of similarities where their issues are different, although Wiggins sounds like she's got some very similar issues in there as well, but in general, very different. But the reaction of the WNBA is the same. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Wow. Wow. Thanks for checking out this video. I really do appreciate it. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will talk to you later.